Hello and welcome to Superbia in Talks. My name is Grace Oni Smith and today I have the great pleasure of being here with one of the most amazing artists, actors and drag icons from our fair city of Manchester, Miss Phylactic.
Hello!
How are you doing, babe?
I'm alright.
How's it going?
Well, I'm melting under these lights. I'm fine.
You look glorious.
Oh, thank you.
I love what you're wearing. Tell us about your look, firstly.
Well, you know how I love a restoration garb.
She's restored.
Yeah, she's restored. So I thought bright, colourful, pridey, show off a little bit, because I haven't had a chance.
A bit of a powdered wig moment.
Yeah, a bit of a powdered wig moment. It's the first time I've had to think waist down as well.
Have we got legs? We've got legs. Wow. The luxury of legs. So how's lockdown been for you?
It's been weird performing to a computer. It's a bit weird.
Yeah.
I like people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So not quite what you're used to then?
No, it's a bit rubbish.
No.
Yeah, in your bedroom, dancing around.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know you are, I would refer to you as a Manchester icon. You were kind of part of the beginning phases of the big kind of drag boom that's happened in Manchester in the last 10 years. So for those of you who don't know about how you got started in drag, where did you get into it?
Well, I got started in Manchester, so it was for a nightclub that we've both frequented. Although I've been in there a few times. Yeah. Cruise 101, and it was literally supposed to be for a couple of weekends. It was a bit of cash in hand, jobby,
lovely.
To create a bit of a character on the door, and I've always liked kind of dressing up and raking about in the fancy dress box at parties, and the person that was running the night suggested me, so I kind of created a character for a couple of weekends, and then it kind of became a couple more weekends.
And was that Phylactic back then?
Yeah, she looked quite different.
Well, we all go on a little evolution with these things, don't we?
Slightly like a wasp. Tina Turner hybrid.
Okay, that sounds great. Yeah. So you started out being a drag hostess.
Yeah.
But also you're an actress / actor.
Yeah, actor.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so how does that come into your drag persona?
Well, weirdly, kind of both worlds have started to kind of cross over, which is fabulous. So yeah, I trained as an actor before drag, and then one acting job that I got was Worried About the Boy, which was quite draggy in itself.
Yeah, that was the Boy George.
Yeah,
the Boy George film that they made.
Very kind of club kid.
Yeah,
and I think that was the kind of beginnings of a spark where I was like, why haven't we got this? Like, why couldn't I do this when I was first going out clubbing? And back then the village was very kind of not that way. So kind of being an effeminate queer, I didn't ever feel very comfortable and kind of felt a bit out of place because it was like very fashionable to be straight.
And that's kind of what happens in the queer world. There's kind of those people that fit into those tropes, and then the ones that don't kind of have to find their own way. And drag is an amazing gateway for that, because I feel like everybody who does drag, no matter who they are, where they come from, go on a personal journey through this sort of exploration of being something else, being outside yourself, but through it an exploration of themselves as well. And do you feel that's something that you've been through with your drag career?
Yeah, I mean everyone's journey is different and everyone comes from a different point, but certainly I've always been quite theatrical and kind of drawn to the stage, and I think that kind of shines through.
Really? You're theatrical?
No, I'm a shy retiree. I
never would have known that you were a theatrical person.
Yeah, but what was amazing was then really quickly after I started the hosting on the door, I kind of met Cheddar again. We knew each other years before, but kind of met again and kind of started hanging out, and then going to nights like Drunk at Vogue and Bollocks and things, and then we all kind of met each other and kind of we formed like this fabulous little group, and then it did feel like kind of a magical time, like in 2012, where we were kind of on the verge of something else and making changes, and and then things did kind of spiral, didn't they? And there's a drag queen everywhere.
And obviously like the big kind of like game-changing night for you and Cheddar was Cha Boudoir.
Yeah.
So how did that impact you as a drag artist at that time? Because you went on such a journey with that night and what it all kind of represented as well.
I think for me it was a wonderful opportunity to you know, for myself personally to work on things like I think drag can be fabulously fun, but it can also be quite therapeutic, and I think having that platform and that opportunity to, you know, do numbers about whatever I wanted to, connecting to the theme of the night, I could really kind of tell my story and work out things in my own head with my drag. But Cha Cha was a wonderful opportunity to give the platform to lots of, I mean, we had like hundreds of new performers and things, and it was like a wonderful way of creating a community and you know, building that kind of network.
And that was the thing that drew people to it. That was the special thing about it, was that it wasn't just a platform for you to do all those things and explore those different sides of your persona and your performance, but it also was offering it out to the community and creating a different culture for drag in the city. You know, look at the way it is now. Manchester has hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different drag performers who all go out there and work, but before that, before Cha Boudoir, it was, people were a lot more protective of that, their stage and their space in the community, whereas I think Cha Cha really flung the doors open for everybody to try and everybody to realise that they can do it too, and it's created a much different culture around drag in Manchester.
Oh yeah, I think that there's so many wonderful, I mean, Creatures of Catharsis as well, like there's so many wonderful kind of pockets of drag and different nights kind of that have kind of sprouted from you know, that initial, you know, seed. Drag's everywhere.
Yeah.
Magic.
And you've gone on such a journey within that. You started out just hosting in a nightclub, and you've gone, like, you've had the success with Drag SOS on Channel 4 with Cheddar and Licorice and Lil all included in that. So how was that experience for you going from being more of like, you know, travelling and doing all of your drag work, but being more based in Manchester, and then doing something that pushes you out into the world, but also reality television? Reality television.
I mean, I've done stuff before with a camera at me, but I'm not going to lie, it was quite hard work. I think after doing that show, I can literally do anything in my life after doing that. And I will eventually look back with rose-tinted glasses and, you know, what an amazing platform and journey and experience, but it was hard work. Drag for about, you know, 8 o'clock in the morning till 7 o'clock at night, not changing my outfit for the whole week, you know, you're stinking, you're tired, your makeup's melting, going on an emotional journey that perhaps I didn't expect, you know, kind of crazy times. So I think eventually I'll be like, we did that, that's amazing, but at the moment I'm still kind of processing.
You're not quite over it yet.
Not quite over the journey yet.
Not ready to see, put those rose tinted glasses on.
Not quite.
But I think what it represented and what you guys were doing, even if it was difficult, you've gone on to mainstream British television, and you've travelled the country, and you've taken drag and your passion and your artistry to places that people never would have expected it existing. So that's that is something that you'll look back on and go, oh yeah, we fucking did that, that's fierce.
But the wonderful thing about it was that, you know, are we allowed to say that? Yeah, the wonderful thing about it was, you know, all the people that we met and their journey, and you know, we're in contact with all of those people now, and you know,
because ultimately that's what drag's about. It's about those connections. It's about being that like star that people can touch and talk to and interact.
Well, not necessarily touch.
No. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if it's consensual.
Yeah, if it's consensual. It's we like to be touched. Not the moment, COVID.
No, stay back, socially distanced.
Socially distanced.
Yes. So you've gone on this massive arc, and you've done Drag SOS. You've gone from like being in the clubs, you've gone into being like on the television. You have an absolutely amazing project was supposed to come out this year, which is the film adaptation of Everybody's Talking About Jamie.
Such an amazing opportunity. It's going to be an amazing film when it's finally released.
Yeah, so it was going to come out this year.
Yeah, it was supposed to come out in October, but obviously everything that's going on, COVID and stuff, it's kind of been delayed until January.
So just like tell us about it.
Yeah, well, have you seen the show?
I've seen bits of it. I've not seen the full show, but I'm aware of what it's about.
Oh, it's like an amazing show. I'm not bored of the soundtrack. I still put the soundtrack on when I do my makeup. But yeah, it was based on a documentary about Jamie Campbell, and he wanted to go to his school prom in a dress, and the school said no, and then he did it anyway, and then the musical was based on the documentary, and I think they expected it to run for about a month, and then it was so successful it went to the West End, and now it's a big film with Richard E. Grant and yours truly in it, doing acting.
Are you actually acting directly with Richard E. Grant?
With Richard E. Grant,
wow. Do you have like a little moment where you're like, that's bloody Richard E. Grant there?
Yeah. I did.
And you're supposed to be moving your mouth and you're just sort of going...
Well, we got asked, it's the only time this has happened actually, but we got asked to do a rehearsal before we started filming with Richard E. Grant.
Okay.
Maybe so we didn't have that kind of wobble where it's like, oh my god, I'm acting with Richard E. Grant. So yeah, we did a pre kind of rehearsal and then dove straight in.
Yeah.
It was quite a surreal experience, but wonderful, really exciting.
And so you're acting in drag in that film?
Well, some of it's in drag, some of it's in half drag, some of it's in a really glamorous club. Backstage. I say glamorous, it's not. So I do get a fabulous outfit at the end, but some of it's less than fabulous because I'm in my sliders and a hoodie.
Absolutely fine.
You know,
that's the reality of drag.
The reality of drag. I'm drinking a vodka.
We all have sliders and jogging bottoms, right? Yeah. So with this, when's it going to come out then? When is it?
January.
So it's coming out in January.
Fingers crossed. I hope that. I hope it does. I want to go to a premiere and wear like a big gown.
Yeah. Do that moment.
Yeah,
have the red carpet moment.
I want that moment.
Yeah, 100%. I think it would be only right to do that.
I'll take you in the handbag.
Take me, or what? You'll take your bottle of vodka out and put me in your handbag.
Yeah, I'll sacrifice the vodka.
So, how do you feel about being? Do you find you get more castings as an actor who does drag, or do you feel that you get? How is that kind of like evened out within your career?
Yeah, I think a lot of actors don't want to be pigeonholed. I'm really happy to be pigeonholed.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying that. I'm really enjoying getting castings as a drag queen, as being an effeminate queer, because when I first came out of drama school, and when I was at drama school, I was told to
dumb it down.
Yeah, so it probably wouldn't happen now at drama school, but I remember in our first week we were asked if there was anyone gay, and like 3 of us kind of sheepishly put our hands up, and then we were told, you know, you're very brave for saying that you were gay, but you probably won't get roles if you do say that, because casting directors sometimes just kind of put you in that pigeonhole, and because there's not a lot of roles being written, or, I mean back then probably less roles, that you're probably not going to get any work, so you were kind of advised to not do that and tone down what you're wearing and to take your piercings out and all of that, so you've got a blank canvas, I suppose, and it was all done with the best intentions, I think, but then there's that kind of weird thing where you're going, I can't really be me, I can't really, so now I'm quite enjoying being this big kind of brightly coloured, effeminate, fabulous person and getting castings for it.
Yeah, 100%. And I think there's been a big shift in our culture towards recognising the power of diversity, for whether that's in a positive way or in a tokenistic way. That movement that has happened quite recently, certainly like in the last 10 years, is something that's like massively positive, and that you can be an effeminate queer actor and you can find space for that to be to explore those different stories and be in that space as an actor, as a performer, as an artist. But I think this shift has happened, so a lot more awareness around, you know, people's identity and people being able to tell their own stories. There's been a lot more of a shift, so we're seeing a lot more queer, trans people, a lot more awareness around those people's stories, and also you know, their experiences and the fact that they should be able to tell their own stories in that space. So do you feel that, like, as somebody who is so visible and so openly queer in the industry, do you feel like that what you're putting out there has an impact on like younger generations, people who are seeing that work?
Oh, for sure. I think it's really important. I think having any kind of platform like Drag SOS and stuff, it's so important, because it kind of says to all those people out there that are living in kind of small towns and they don't feel comfortable in their own skin, and you know, seeing me parade around like this, or Cheddar as a unicorn, or whatever, you know, it is kind of out there, but it also says if you can do that, then you know I can be me, I can whatever, and I think that does kind of say something to the younger generation, and certainly the people that we've talked to at you know, drag conventions and things. I think you know, it's kind of helped people with them.
I think you know, you're from quite a small town as well, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm Darlington.
Darlington.
Yes, it sounds really glam.
How was that for you?
Yeah, small town mentality. So kind of growing up, it was difficult. I got bullied at school. Like I got outed at school, which was lovely. When I say lovely, it wasn't so lovely. So yeah, I was followed around by boys, spat on, beaten up, like horrendous, horrible. So you know, I couldn't wait to get out of Darlington and come to Manchester.
I think a lot of us have that same. You know,
where did you grow up? It was somewhere close.
Well, I grew up in Cumbria, so I grew up on the west coast in a town called Whitehaven, and I was like the only queer person, only trans person. I was like crazy alternative, like gothy, witchy weirdo, and so it was just like hell on earth. And like, I ended up leaving on my 16th birthday. I just was like, get me a flat somewhere else that's not here, and like started off to Newcastle for like a year, and then went off to London. But I understand that like small town, the way that it can impact on you as a person. But I think what's so amazing, what's so magical about how conversations are starting to open up, but you being so visible, I think, you know, do you remember like the first time you saw a queer person, like an outwardly queer person, and like the impact it had on you? Like I think I saw like this really fab like goth girl in like Carlisle in Cumbria, and she was like marching down the high street, and she had like this big witchy dress on and loads of makeup, and like she just looked absolutely wild, and she had like this boy with eyeliner on with her, and they were like marching down the street. And I was really young, and it like changed my life. It was like I'd never seen anyone like that, knew that that was a possibility for people. And that's what you do for people, just by like existing, whether people come to your shows or they see you on social media and stuff like that. You know, it's a really amazing thing that you're so visible now, literally in people's living rooms.
I think it's so important to be visible and just say, hey, I'm me, because you can't ever be anyone else, can you? And I think it's sad when you have to hide part of yourself. I think if I wasn't outed, I probably would. I'd probably still be part. So actually, it was a favour, really.
Yeah, they booted you out and made you take all the dresses with you.
No going back.
Yeah.
Didn't want to get back in.
No thanks.
No.
So you escaped.
Yeah,
and it all turned out all right.
Magical.
Yeah, pretty magical. So what's next then for Anna Phylactic?
What is next? Oh, I don't know. I kind of bimble through my life.
Bimble? What's a bimble?
I just kind of, I don't know. I don't think there's ever a big plan. I just kind of let stuff happen to me.
Well, all of our plans have kind of been scuppered by the old
at the moment,
big C. Well, no, not the big C. COVID.
Not
the other big C. Not that one.
I think there's some kind of exciting potential things that are coming up, but again, they might not happen because of, COVID.
Yeah. Okay.
Who knows?
So we're all sort of a bit like in hibernation at the minute, really.
Limbo.
In limbo. I've been Grace Oni Smith, and this has been Superbia in Talks with Anna Phylactic. Have a wonderful Pride. See you later. Tatty bye.
Happy Pride. See you later.
Bye.
Have a good one.
Mwah, mwah, mwah. Juicy ciao. Bye, bye, bye.